Besides being a PolitiChick and a radio host, Dr. Gina Loudon is also an author, and we're talking about her new book. Ladies and gentlemen, Why the Survival of Our Republic Depends on the Revival of Honor, on today's episode of PolitiChicks. So Gina, you've been one of our strongest conservative voices out there, fighting to get our message past the media block. Now, sometimes neither side acts like ladies and gentlemen, which makes your book so timely. So is it possible to fight decently in what's becoming a very dirty battle out there?
Yeah.
Well, you know, I think the answer to that, honestly, Morgan, is that this is exactly the reason we wanted to explore this. My co-author and I, Dr. Dathan Paterno, we noticed sort of a scaling back of common decency where we're accepting a crassness and a level of brazenness and a level of dishonesty and a level of just absolutely eradicating any basic truths. You can't do this and be a conservative and ever win. So there's a whole, Alinsky came out and everybody was, loving all over Alinsky. Let's face facts, and I study Alinsky. Be aware of your enemy. That's the art of war, if you will. Be aware of your enemy's tactics, but don't lower yourself to them if they're immoral. And this is where conservatives have to stick to our guns. We have to be willing to call a truth, to say it like we mean it. That doesn't mean we always have to keep a nice demeanor, and that doesn't mean we can't fight even harder sometimes than they can fight, but we have to be smarter, and we have to maintain civility amongst ourselves, and that's one of our greatest challenges. You'll notice the other side is very good at coming together at election time and working together. We are really good at dividing amongst ourselves, tolerating that divisiveness and that ugliness and factioning off. And guess what happens at election time? We're all mad at each other. Are you a Paulite? Are you a Romney person? Were you for Santorum? Well, we hate you all.
Right.
This is what we have to stop.
The other side seems to be so brutal. I mean, everything they say, they get away with saying the nastiest things.
Recently,
Really?
Joy Behar was talking about burning down Romney's house so that they could bring out the Mormon Fire
How
Brigade.
do they get away with that?
What do we say back?
The question that we always ask is, how do they get away with that? Instead of absolutely calling her out and calling the people around her out. Where are the people that support Joy Behar? Where are her advertisers, the way they went after our conservative stalwarts? We have to learn to do the same thing, but we don't have to lower ourselves to their level because we do have a standard of decency. And what Dr. Paterno and I tried to do in this book is to really call out the good players, to call out the bad players, and this is on our own side because there are people who, believe it or not, are in this movement to corrupt it, and we have to be aware of that as well, and we can't tolerate it amongst our own ranks especially. And that's where you have to start, is cleaning your own house.
Sure. Well, now you mentioned calling out, and there is already quite a buzz about your book coming out. It's already highly ranked on Amazon just from pre-sale orders, and it doesn't come out till July 18th. How much pushback are you afraid that you're going to get from calling out members of your own party? And are you prepared for this?
Well, we don't just call out members of our own party, we call out members of the media, we call out sitting politicians, and this is something that every single one of us here has made a career of. It's what I do, and so I'm not really concerned about the pushback. That's not why I wrote it. I wrote it because, and with my partner, Dr. Dathan Paterno, because we see an erosion of our culture that is unstoppable.
Yes.
And if we don't raise a higher standard as conservatives, it's over, folks. The fat lady is singing.
I'll tell you something. If you've got advanced sales like you've got, numbers like you've got already, I think this is a tipping point and it's a turning point, and I think people are really hungry to read it. And they're hungry. They know what you're talking about. They know exactly what you're saying. And I think that this is going to resonate with a lot of people, especially since it's so well received and it's not even out yet.
Well, thank you. And one of the things we really tried to do in this, Morgan, is to give step-by-step instructions for people who want to engage in the process.
Which is
who
what we
maybe
need.
Disgusted with the sort of cynical way that politics has become. You hate me, I hate you, you hate you, and let's pile on that, We kind of took that from a different perspective and said, hey, if you're new, and I don't care what your talent is, if you are a stay-at-home mom and you know how to make cookies or write letters, there's a place for you in conservative activism, and we call on that, and we kind of try to gird people up to say, you can be a part of this movement. It's time to reclaim our culture, and we give step-by-step instructions on that.
And you don't have to get in the dirt. You don't have to get down and dirty
That's
and
right.
hurt yourself.
It doesn't have to be that way, but the old adage, if good people don't lead, bad people will. That's why we need the good people to read the book and to absolutely, take our call to action and join all of us here in PolitiChicks, right?
Well, I'm anxious. I'm very anxious to get it. I'm anxious. And before we go, I want you to tell us where we can find your book.
Yes, you can find my book at www.drginaloudon.com, right there on my website. You can click on it and go to it, and pre-orders are discounted sincerely. It's a very nice discount. and then you can also find it Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Lifeway, all the good bookstores. And we'll be coming to different towns and doing book signings as well. If somebody's interested in that, they can let us know.
Oh, perfect. Thank you so much
Thank
for joining
you.
us today. And thank you for watching PolitiChicks.tv, the right kind of PC.